you can start with your core people that are around you. Always staying in integrity. When you say you're going to do something, do it. Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Bruce B. Baird, and you're listening to the Productive Dentist Podcast. In this podcast, I will give you everything that I've learned over the last 40 years in dentistry, working with thousands of dentists. I'll tell you, it's not that my way is the only way. It's just one that has worked extremely well for me, and I'd love to share that with you so you too can enjoy the choices and lifestyle that productivity allows. More time for things you love, increased pay, better team relationships, and lowered stress. Let's get into it with this week's episode of the Productive Dentist Podcast. Hi, this is Dr. Bruce Baird with the Productive Dentist Podcast, and today we're in episode 114, and it is hiring the perfect team. Well, what is the perfect team? What does that mean? And there is no perfect team. There is a team that can be uncommon. Perfection is limited to a dream. You know, perfection is not something that is. It's not something that I measure people on as perfection. What I measure people on is, are they someone who is guided by the right things, who wants to be the best at what they can possibly do. And, you know, I had a lot of failures in hiring as the bad boss, you know, as the guy who for the first 14, 15 years was the worst boss in the world. I hired people. Oh my gosh. I had lots of criteria. If they were really good looking, I would hire them. I remember I hired one girl named Bambi. Yes, Bambi. And she lasted about a week until we caught her standing on the commode in our employee restroom, smoking pot and blowing it out the vent. You know, I was a real picker. You know, I picked some really interesting people. But the truth is, probably 90% of the people I picked would have been part of a perfect team. I just never gave them. I never gave them the chance of becoming a perfect team. So, first of all, how do I go about hiring? What was my way of hiring people? And I'm going to shift past my bad boss days, okay? And I'm going to get into not that I was the best ever, but the days when the practice started to really turn around. And what I did, it became something that when I would interview with somebody, I would look at, do they look at you in the eyes? Do they smile, and do they carry on a good conversation? If you've got somebody that's staring down, that doesn't relate well to people, that may not be the person that I want to hire. Now, I have people who are nice and friendly and smile. They're not the outgoing, gregarious person, but they're very, very detail-oriented. And you can go through, we've done the DISC profiles on people to try to match that up. That works great. I love having that information, but it doesn't make or break the perfect team. I also, when we were hiring for people to come into the office, I did it a little bit differently because, yes, I would interview them, but I would say, let's do a working interview. And I would have my team, the ones who, and let's talk about my clinical team, Gay and Summer and Shannon and Tamara. They were my treatment coordinators. They were the ones that were working with me day in and day out with patients. And I wanted them to take this new potential hire out to lunch. And we would have several other of the treatment coordinators. I'll take them out to lunch. We're buying lunch, getting to know this person. Is this person somebody who they could work with? And I use the story about one of my hygienists not being real happy about a new hygienist that we had. She doesn't do it our way. She doesn't do it this way. And did I think that this person had the potential to be part of a perfect team or part of an amazing team? I'd rather say that, an amazing team better than perfect. But did I think she had that skill? I do. And she was a super uh, good hygienist. She spoke really well. She smiled, and patients seemed to like her, but her systems weren't the same that we had been doing. So I basically tasked my hygienist. I said, well, now I know you're saying things about her because I hear it. I said, will you do me a favor? Now, remember, that's a relationship question. That means an agreed upon course of action between two parties. And she said, well, of course, I'll do something. I said, well, can you help train her to be like you? Because I know you're an amazing hygienist and you do things a certain way. Could you do that for me? Well, yeah, I guess. In other words, I caught her off guard. Yeah, I guess I could. Well, yeah, you could. And that was the way that I said, okay, let's see how you do. And all of a sudden, everything changed. And guess what? This new hygienist that we had as a hire uh, began producing very close to what this hygienist who was doing the training was doing within a matter of 6 weeks. Now, I could have just said, see, this person was really good, but instead, I used that opportunity to say, you did an amazing job training. That was awesome. And isn't it more rewarding and more fun to help that person become better? And they were like, yes, I understand exactly. Well, those are the lessons that I learned, oh, daily, I guess. You're looking for that daily that to solve all the day's problems. And so I do like having my team involved in that hiring process when we're looking for the perfect team. um, you know there are some misguided tendencies that we have as new practice owner, for instance, in regard to hiring. Everybody wants to find somebody who has experience. You know, I want to find somebody who knows Dentrix. We have Dentrix. I want them to know Dentrix to become, they're a Dentrix guru, and I want to hire them, and they're going to be the perfect employee. Well, I hate to tell you that I don't much worry about that. Yes, I don't mind having somebody come in that has experience, especially working with our software and those kind of things, maybe that have done things in other offices. But you know what? Rarely did things that other offices do really attract too much attention from me. I would much rather teach and train that person how to do those things. And that could be anybody. It could be somebody from Walmart. It could be somebody from your bank. It could be somebody from that works at a vet. That's where my team came from. From Walmart. From was a vet who worked at a veterinary office. I want people who can relate to people and who care about people. And so our tendency is we hire based on their previous skill set, which truthfully probably was not the skill set that you wanted to train them. And so they bring in these new ideas and new thoughts. Now, that's great. I love new ideas and new thoughts, but they have a tendency to do things the same way they have always done in the past, which may not be the most effective. It may not be the most productive. It may not be the most efficient way of doing it. And so I'm constantly, you can start with your core people that are around you. Always staying in integrity. When you say you're going to do something, do it. We're going to have training on Tuesday. Don't make it a bitch session. We're going to talk about how great the practice is. I'm going to, and a lot of people, we talk about measuring success based on tools. And I know that you have dental intel out there. You've got you can pull all kinds of information now, but there's more to it than just numbers. I look at this, and I've told you guys this before, but I look at every year of everybody that's surrounded me. All the people that are in the office, in the practice, top to bottom. I do my own evaluation. How can I help this person do better at what they're doing? How could I help this person? How could I get this team of 3 to train our 4th chairside treatment coordinator? How can I get them to do that? And usually it's just simply, if we're in great relationship, that I can simply ask that question. If they trust me, if my team trusts me, and that usually is because of integrity. Uh, uh, you know, when we say we're going to do something, we do something. We're always looking out for our patients. We're always, when Miss Johnson, the one you don't like, leaves, and you go, "What a bitch! I can't stand that. I can't stand it when she comes in here." Well, that's not the okay you want to give to your team every time they don't like somebody. And how do I know that? Because that's what I would do. And now I go, she is a challenge. She's a challenge. I really appreciate you guys. And the other thing about getting a team that's on your side is when they put up with a lot. Your team puts up with a lot of commotion from patients. And most of it are, these are patients who are a little bit more demanding, possibly. Um, and they will gripe at them. They won't say much to me as the doc, but they will gripe at them about everything that they want to gripe about. I can't believe we do this, can't believe we do that. And that really breaks a team down, especially if I don't do something about it. And I've walked into the room before and said, "Mary," I said, "my team is scared of you." And the Mary looks at you and goes, "What? What do you mean? How could that possibly be? I'm such a nice person." They don't say it like that. But I say, "Yeah, I mean, they're afraid when you come in. You're pretty, straight to the point, and you're kind of," I said, "I tell you what, this is my family. This is my family. And I really, oh, I'll never do that again. I am so sorry. I didn't even, most people don't even realize they're doing that. But hiring a perfect team means having perfect team support. And I'm going to support that. I'm going to support my team top to bottom. Now, would I have done that years ago? If somebody was griping about something, as a patient was griping, then I would go evaluate the employee and say, "Well, what did you do wrong? How did you do it? Why did you piss them off?" And, that's not really the way to handle this. The way to handle it is to be intuitive about what's going on, to be caring, to be somebody who says, "I really want to help all my patients, and I want to do it with a team that is uh, glued together, that really help each other." The hygienist is seating patients when she doesn't have a patient or he doesn't have a patient. Uh, Everybody's working together as a team, and there's no. I'm going to talk on the next one again about the front versus the back and how do we get away from that. But those are things that can really destroy a business. And I promise you, if you get the right team and you take care of that team and you have the right emotional ability to govern your emotions and to help people and to be a mentor to those people, you're going to have a practice that's not just producing X. You're going to have a practice that's producing 3X. And it's not about, when I look at numbers, when I look at profitability and productivity, it's a direct reflection of how well we take care of people. It's not, could I cut one more crown faster? Could I do this quicker? It has nothing to do with that. It actually has to do with, if we take great care of the patients, the money always takes care of itself. And I love that. And I'm going to stick with that the rest of my life. Because if you take care of people, the rest of the stuff always takes care of itself. So it's a different way of thinking. But our inclination as a new owner is, I've got a lot of debt, I've got school debt, I've got this, I got to, and it is stressful. It is extremely stressful. And our job at Productive Dentist Academy is to help you be able to to get through those, to get through this part of your career with an amazing team. And again, I look at young dentists like Dwight Pecora, who down in South Texas or Southeast Texas, amazing boss. I look at him, I go, I'd like to work for him, and I could name, you know, I could name more. Jackson Bean over in East Texas. I could name Dave Deal up in Fort Wayne. I can name so many dentists who I've learned from just watching them, uh, watching their ability to be able to communicate in a really a high stress environment, which is a dental practice. So anyway, anybody can learn. The worst boss in the world can learn to be the best, and I challenge you to do that. I look forward to our next podcast, and let's make it happen. Tell your friends about this. I would really appreciate that. We have the Productive Dentist Workshop coming up in Dallas on I think it's the 15th of February. So look at that. You can go to productivedentist.com and look at that. And we really would love to have you there. Our whole concept has changed. We still teach the same productivity things that we always have, but we've added so much more on leadership and communication. So look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Productive Dentist Podcast. If you found this episode helpful, make sure you subscribe. Pass it along to a friend. Give us a like on iTunes and Spotify, or drop me an email at podcast@productivedentist.com. Don't forget to check out other podcasts from the Productive Dentist Academy at productivedentistpodcast.com. Join me again next week for another episode of the Productive Dentist Podcast.